Welcome back to the SCIF. I'm Matt. That is Stu. We got a good show for you tonight. We are the Green Beret Life. We're a 501c3. If you want to get in contact with us, we are here to serve veterans, first responders, and their families. If you have any questions, send us an email. You'll see the email rolling across the bottom at some stage here. And I'm going to let Stu talk about what we're going to talk about tonight.
I'm going to talk about what we're going to talk about. Have a meeting to discuss the needing. We've got several things here. There were several stories that I found that, especially one here, Mamdani in New York is looking at opening government subsidized grocery stores. So we're going to look at that, and I know Matt's done work in the retail area and on Another Life, and we're going to discuss some of these second and third hand effects that this is going to have that people aren't looking at initially. We've got the Democrat Party who's struggling for a little bit of cash. It looks like they have taken out loans using their DNC headquarters as collateral to continue to operate. And normally that doesn't happen when you're fundraising and getting the money flowing and people are supporting your candidates. But can you think of anything that's happened in the past 9 months or so that may affect
the communist takeover?
Funding? Huh?
The communist takeover.
No. I mean, can you think of anything that's happened in the
USAID being shut down, all the stuff going on with Act Blue, that came back out in the news again. Did you see that YouTuber from Michigan with the Act Blue?
I didn't see it come out again.
Shows up at this woman's camper, her house burned down. She's living out of it.
I did see that. Yeah.
She donated something like $250,000 or something along those lines to the D. And she's like, what? Now she was a donate. She donated to Act Blue because he said, can you show me how you donate? She went on her phone and, like $5 at a time or whatever, but she has no money. He had to give her money to get her grass cut. So this woman is listed as a $200,000 donor. Now, just putting two and two together, they're not supposed to have foreign money or dark money in their campaigns. So this sounds like how they're laundering foreign or dark. We can only assume, right? Because we don't know.
Well, no, I mean, at this point, it's beyond an assumption that this is fraud.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking and making an assertion that someone has done something that they haven't done in order for you to be able to take their money.
Of course, it's fraud. We don't know where the money's coming from, and if we say we do, we open ourselves up, right? Because we don't know where the money's coming from. We can only assume, using blue collar logic, where that money's coming from.
Well, it's coming from an illegal source. Otherwise, it wouldn't be funneled and hidden and
hidden and laundered through poor people that are making small donations to the Democrat Party. That when it comes out on the list, they're making massive donations to the Democrat Party.
Yeah, so I remember seeing that video. There's about he had asked her, and you could tell that she seemed like a very nice, sweet lady, but she was so confused as to what he was saying. She just didn't understand. She's like, well, how would I do? She's like, well, it's saying here you made a donation from this address, but then the same day you made a donation from this address. She's like, well, yeah, I still own that. He's like, but you couldn't be in the same location at the same time. Well, I'm not sure. You can tell she just wasn't putting it together, but it was like thousands and thousands of donations that they were saying this poor lady had made, and it's obviously
couldn't they open her up to investigation from, like, I don't know, if she's not paying any taxes, right? And they're saying, how are you making $200,000 donations to the DNC? We want to look into your. Couldn't they do that? Yeah.
Why wouldn't they? I mean, it's like you said, it's the money laundering. Where's this
But
money coming from? Because you're not
but
paying taxes on it.
here's the thing. When they're in charge, their people are in charge of these agencies who they're investigating. Do you think that they're going to investigate somebody who potentially gave $200,000 to Act Blue?
No, the question should be, Matt, are they going to investigate someone they're using to launder money into the Democrat Party? And that answer is
no. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So
we've got the austere and established gentleman, Senator John Cornyn, who is commiserating with the media about how they may delay the August recess for, Trump to push the Senate to pass the Save America Act. And that's just not going to happen. And he should get over it.
The sheer audacity of this guy to go out there and say how confidently it's not going to happen. Like John Thune, we don't have the votes. We have control of the Senate, but they can't make this happen, even though 80%, I think the Gateway Pundit is saying 70, it's a 70%. But I've also seen it's an 86% majority of the positive people who want this, people who are positive to it that want the SAVE Act, Democrats and Republicans. It's an 86% issue, right?
Well, Matt, I've got a ticker at the bottom to address that. It's one we've had on here before.
Yep. Yeah. Bills favored by lobbyists and economic elites have 80 to 90% chance of passing, while those with high public support have less than 30% chance of passing, because those same lobbyists and elites don't want us to have this for one reason or another. The only thing we can say here is, what do they want here? What is the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and these big businesses, what do they want here? We're going to have another story about the Haitians later. And we're going to talk about Mike DeWine, who won't shut the hell up about this, right? And we're going to say, when you look at him, you're like, what? He's talking trash. They helped us rebound? No, they didn't. They're here collecting welfare.
Oh, but no, they're part of the revitalization.
Yes, the revitalization. What it is how they took over Minnesota with Somalis. Big business comes in and they get rid of the American workers. They hire these foreign workers for a fraction. You hear me going on about this like a broken record, I know. But they hire the foreign labor at a fraction, and then the government comes in and subsidizes everything else so the business can still pay the foreign laborer nothing, while your taxpayer dollars are going to subsidize the rest of their life so they can live like they're middle-class people. And that's all on your dime while you're busting your ass so they can go and pluck chicken feathers out of a chicken and then go home and live like they're making, $80, $90, $100,000 a year. And that's not an exaggeration, by the way. So,
we've talked about that before, Matt, with just the way that works, when they're like, oh, well, we're not subsidizing XYZ, but it's like, if you give me my housing, if you give me lodging, if you give me medical care, those are things that I don't have to pay for, then guess what? I can use the money I am getting from wherever I'm getting it for the stuff that I want. So yes, you are subsidizing that other activity and paying for it in a roundabout way.
So you hear fraud politicians like Mike DeWine come out and say they're here to work. He's being extremely misleading because they're brought here to relieve you of your job so they can pay them $15 an hour less, right? And then the government comes in and takes your money, right, from the job you don't have anymore, right? But they're going to still take your money and they're going to subsidize them with your money and then say they're here being part of our rebound and adding to society and working when the vast majority of them all taking federal subsidies and handouts.
Yep.
That's what they're getting. They're getting welfare.
And the
On your,
story that was alluding to, there are 300,000 Haitians facing deportation as the TPS expires.
in February, when they were supposed to go back originally, weren't there 500,000? Wasn't that the number? How did the number all of a sudden become 300,000? I'm curious on that.
I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But the funny thing with that is, and we'll get to it in the story, is this, you guys remember, this was from the earthquake in Haiti. Do you remember when this earthquake took place?
It was like 16 years ago, dude.
16 years ago. Over a decade and a half ago, in this temporary amnesty, temporary protected status.
Yeah.
It's like, no, temporary means something. Words have meanings.
Mm-hmm.
The other story, you want to talk about the stories you've got here, Matt?
Yeah, there's one of our viewers, Kathy, sent us something that's really, really interesting. You all remember the Las Vegas shooting, and one of the captains that was working on that shooting there turned up as a police officer in Maui during the Lahaina fires. And you're like, oh, that's a coincidence, right? You're like, coincidence there. You got the same guy who was in Las Vegas during the Las Vegas shooting, which is shady, right? And now he turns up in Lahaina during the Lahaina fire, working there. And now, lo and behold, if this is all true, and this was on X, he is, and this comes from Kathy, one of our viewers. He is now named in the Diddy controversy. It's like, what? Some police officer that happens to be involved in Las Vegas at the time during the Vegas shootings. Then he's now a cop in Hawaii during the Lahaina fires, and now he turns up in the Sean Combs investigation. What? Something crazy is going on here with all of this nonsense. That can't be a coincidence anymore, right?
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. Do you have that? Can you put it up there so people can go and see and check this thing out?
Yeah, I've got it right here. This is let me share my screen.
I know we sort of jumped ahead. I jumped out of.
No, you're fine. You're fine. We're getting started anyway. So this is it, and like Matt said, this is the police chief who oversaw the response that left people trapped in the Lahaina fire has been identified as a co-conspirator in the Diddy case, and this is he previously acted as the incident commander for the Las Vegas shooting. There's been a lawsuit filed that claims he used a fake warrant to forcibly take a Diddy victim at gunpoint from Las Vegas to California for assault. I mean, that's federal. That's crossing state lines. Even after these accusations surfaced, so he's already been accused of doing this, he's still appointed as Maui's police chief. And it's just like,
yeah,
what are these hiring committees looking at when they're like, well, wait a minute,
well,
this
guy's obviously being placed in these positions. I mean, this is too much of a coincidence. This is silliness.
Yeah, it's a bit much.
Yeah, no,
it is a bit much.
Yeah. So this is just something super interesting for, maybe we need to dig into this a little bit and see what's the story with this guy. Just like we don't know enough about the guy who the second that we know of assassination attempt on President Trump. And you find out that this guy was apparently a bankrupt construction contractor from North Carolina living in Hawaii, yet voting in North Carolina and taking trips over to the Middle East, to include Iran, to recruit people to fight in Ukraine against the Russians. What?
Yeah.
right?
You don't know out of work construction workers that have hobbies, Matt? Can a man have a
Oh
hobby?
yeah, and can find their way into countries that are virulently anti-American in the Middle East to recruit soldiers to go and fight in this bullshit Ukraine-Russia war. And by the way, now that we mentioned this bullshit Russian-Ukraine war, they are really trying. Here's what I think is going on. Okay, ready for a conspiracy? Right? Russia's oil capacity is 50% what it is right now. What it normally is right now. It's 50%. Okay. The Strait of Hormuz, isn't it interesting that the people who stand to gain the most from those waters being open and free and not having Iran threatening all of this isn't us, it's the Europeans, but they're not lifting one finger to help. Isn't that interesting? And you see Lloyd's of London coming in doing shady things to try to dissuade ships from moving.
Basically threatening them.
Yes.
Didn't they say not just if they will not be insurable during,
if they use the American insurance, they will get punished on the back end when they go back to Lloyd's of London. That's what they were saying. If we don't have this mistaken, right? And here's why. And now you're starting to see stories like, oh, the Russians gave the Iranians the intel on where the soldiers were when they were launching the missiles. You have got to be a special kind of freaking stupid. Everybody knows we have American soldiers in these bases in Jordan. Everybody knows this. There wasn't any
secret.
Give me a break. But they're trying to villainize, in my opinion, okay, and keep this war going. And now the Ukrainians just blew up a ship that the Iranians or the Russians were using to funnel product to the Iranians, right? Which is really funny that you're really not hearing China mentioned in any of this, right? It's really funny. That's Russia, who's in the middle of a war, but they're really concerned about Iran, right? The bullshit meter is pegged off of 100 on all of this. And here's what I think they're trying to do. So Russia's oil capacity is at 50%. We've now got all this bullshit going on, keeping the price of oil up in the Strait of Hormuz. The Europeans, who could have helped keep this strait clear, haven't lifted a finger to do so in any way, shape, or form, even though they benefit from it more than anybody, right? What they're trying to do here, folks, okay, is lose Donald Trump the midterms. This is what they're doing. They're waiting Trump out, even if it's at the detriment of their own country's economies, because Trump is dismantling what these deep staters are doing to destroy Western civilization. That's what's going on. They are trying to intentionally keep gas prices high so people here in the United States get pissed that gas prices are high, so they blame Trump and then hand the Senate and the House to the Democrats, who will then immediately start impeachment procedures against Donald Trump. And then they go back to business as usual, screwing up the Western world. Okay? This is what, in my opinion, is going on, and it's that simple. It is that simple. And do not get distracted by all of this bullshit. I listened to Fox News interview the president or prime minister of Finland, right, who is apparently really good friends with Lindsey Graham this morning, right? And all he got on there was give a little speech about how we needed to support the war effort with Ukraine against Russia, and rah on that, and how, you know, this was what was really important to Lindsey Graham, which we all know it was, right? Why, we don't really know, right?
Well, my thing is, why wasn't the question asked, what has Finland done to support the war effort? How much money and material has Finland?
And it's funny because Dana Perino never seemed to ask that when I saw this going on this morning. So that's a really good question. But that war should be over. But now you see drones hitting deep inside Russia into Moscow and everything else. How is this happening? The Ukrainians ain't doing this shit. They're not doing this shit. Something is afoot here. Nobody's talking about it, but they are using Russia and they're using this deal in the Straits of Hormuz to try to lose the midterms for Trump. Now it's a gamble because if we're able to keep the House and the Senate, all bets are off and the dismantling will continue to a point that's going to be catastrophic to the deep state. It already is, to be honest. It already is. So we need to support Trump, and we need to get out and support keeping more Republicans and electing better Republicans so we have more power. So you don't have to listen to little shitheads like John Cornyn and Senator Thune and Murkowski and the whole list, Tom Tillis, and the whole list of these horrible rhinos that aren't there to represent us.
You don't have 80 and 90-year-old people dying in office because they're too goddamn stubborn and self-righteous and so self-aggrandizing and important that this country would fall apart if I'm not 90 years old crawling in there. Now
Governor Bashir in Kentucky is now sniffing around trying to see what's going on with McConnell because he can replace McConnell for the time being until there's a special election, which will hand them one more Democrat seat in the Senate. So we've got a problem here.
Is Mitch McConnell dead yet, or is he still just missing?
We don't know because they're saying he's in recovery, and Bashir is saying no, I need proof because he wants to replace them. So this is a real freaking problem that we have, and we have this feckless leader in John Thune, who everybody knew was a disaster. He was McConnell's right-hand man from the very beginning. He begged him to stay in the Senate because he was going to retire.
Yeah.
So this is all designed to stop your agenda, which is Donald Trump's agenda. It's all designed for that, and we need to keep the full course press on the Senate. Allegedly, 15 Democrats voted for the SAVE Act in the House.
Really?
Yes. So we need to put pressure, not just on the Republicans, on specific Democrats. This SAVE Act needs to happen.
Well, it still just boggles my mind how you're a public servant. You're elected and you're sent there to represent your constituents.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that because you're incapacitated, unable, or unwilling. The people should know that so that you
No, Stu, because we've gotten ourselves into a position right now. If the people know this, we get a Democrat in that seat. That's the problem right now. If he is in big trouble, which a lot of us suspect, but we don't know. We have to take them for their word that he is in recovery and he's fine. But if he is, the Democrats get another seat in the Senate. That's
how do you
freaking
those Democrats? Would Bashir
replace him for the time being until the election or a special election before. And there probably won't be a special election before the midterms because they're coming up so soon. That's what's going on. If I'm wrong, somebody else speak up. But this is why Bashir is getting so concerned and trying to see, hey, what's going on with Mitch McConnell? Because he wants to put a Democrat in there.
For whatever, and I don't know why. I probably knew better. I don't know why I was thinking Bashir was Republican. I don't know.
No, Bashir's a Democrat.
So that was why I was like, wait, what's the problem? I was completely off.
Okay. Yeah. Kentucky, for some reason, elected Mitch McConnell, but a Democrat governor. I don't ask me how that makes any sense in the same world. But
what story do you want to do next?
One of my stories. Did we talk about the ceasefire here? Iran launched an attack against U.S. bases. They're not being specific, but it was multiple bases. All of the attacks were thwarted. There were drones, I believe, primarily, maybe some missiles, but we intercepted everything. But this is what they've done when we've put a pause on attacking them. Now, not many people are covering this, but the Iranians are feeling serious heat from the Kurds in the Western Mountains, right? And the IRGC has their hands full fighting the Kurds right there. So what's happening now is we're starting to divide them up. We can't negotiate with Iran because there's too many factions involved. There's not a single and it was designed this way. There's not a central individual that we can speak with that has authority over the whole country.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that. So the best thing we can do here, okay, is just eliminate all of their capabilities. Now, we have to be getting close to this. And I know Trump did not want to destroy the infrastructure for in case the people rose up, threw this regime out, and elected somebody new. We didn't want to destroy their infrastructure, electricity, roads, bridges, oil infrastructure, because we wanted the country to build itself back up, mm-hmm. right? But now we're at a point where we have no choice because they continue to launch. You're dealing with freaking idiots here, dude. That's what you're dealing with. You are dealing with straight up freaking idiots that are so blinded by ideology. They don't care. They don't care if their whole country is pounded back into 800, the Stone Ages. And yeah, they don't care. Now the rest of the people apparently do, but the people are not rising up. And we say, and it's hard to point the finger and say this because I look at Europe, right? Or even here, the Democrats here, all the bullshit that's been tried here, and they've gotten away with it. In Europe, they're getting away with it right now. There's a story today that a Muslim migrant, attacked 3 women with a knife, and the police didn't stop it. Men stepped in and stopped this, right? And one of the women was pregnant, and now the media is covering it all up. So another knife attack, and Allah told him to do it, according to reports, right? But you look at that and you see the same thing. In Iran, they've killed 50-some thousand people that were protesting. So even though Iran has 68 million people or whatever it is, second most populous country in the Middle East behind Egypt, right? These people are scared. And they're getting bombarded with propaganda. That's something too I figured we could take over maybe a little better and let the people know what's going on in real time. So when the IRGC lies to them and they blatantly see it, but I think they would kind of get that picture of having 13 solid nights of getting pounded, So this is all tied together with the deep state and everything else. The deep state wants this war to keep going. They're going to come on and say, no, but they're doing everything in the background to keep it going, right?
Yeah, they're saying one thing and doing the complete opposite.
Yeah, and of course, they want Ukraine and Russia to keep going. This is what they want, destruction. And because the sooner we get these things solved, the sooner our economy is just going to go. Our economy is already taking off, but once you get gas prices down, and gas prices will drop like a rock. Do you remember? This is hard for people to remember. Do you remember what our economy was like before it was attacked with COVID? And we're learning more and more about this every day.
Yeah.
Fauci's going to be on the stands tomorrow. Our economy was one of the best economies we've ever had, ever, right before COVID, right? And this little shit that's going to be grilled in front of Congress tomorrow, named Fauci, right, was talking several years in advance about this pandemic that was coming, right? Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, we get COVID, right? So we're starting to get. This guy kept a journal or a diary. This guy Fauci, and you can see in the diary that he kept. Surprise, he's an egomaniac, right? Complete egomaniac. Right. So he's already been caught lying. Here, they're talking about it right here. Fauci diary indicates he had pulmonary infarction after receiving vaccine.
Yeah. He had vaccine injuries and is still out there telling everybody they need to get it. They need to wear 2 masks because 2's better than 1. And oh, you get the shot so you can't transmit. Well, okay, well you can still transmit, but you can't. It was all bullshit. They had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, complete bullshit. Everybody knows this. And what they did to the world economy, not just the U.S. economy, the elderly in nursing homes, children, they were telling you to get infants vaccines.
Yeah.
This is insane. I mean, this is absolutely insane. So we forget and we forgive way too easy, way too easy. So, yeah, this is all tied together. This is all tied together. And seeing where this police chief who was in Las Vegas, in Maui, associated with Diddy, that's not a coincidence. There's something up
Man
with
gets
that.
around.
Yeah, there's something up with that. Okay. So all of this is tied together. The Europeans are neck deep in it. I should say the deep state Europeans are neck deep in this. And they want to keep the pain going with the high price at the gas pump because they want Donald Trump to pay the price so they can get back to doing business as usual because they're getting dismantled by Trump as we speak. That's my deal on that. The only other story that I had, Stu, that I wanted to talk about a little bit was Tractor Supply, and we need to Bud Light Tractor Supply. And it's a store that I like and Stu likes, but they obviously don't understand their base. And we'll just read this right here. This Spring Lake, Stu knows real well. It's as do I. So, North Carolina Tractor Supply bans Patriot, North Carolina hot dog vendor, who is banned by Tractor Supply because he supports President Donald Trump. Jeff Hartman of All American Hot Dogs and Catering says a Tractor Supply regional manager banned him from every company property, even though he had previously given free food to store employees. Hartman operates out of the Spring Lake area near Fayetteville, and that's right where Fort Bragg is, and had to set up at the Tractor Supply store earlier this month. Right? On July 10th, he posted that he would be serving there that weekend and thanked the local manager by name for offering the spot. Hartman said he fed Tractor Supply workers free hot dogs on prior visits. However, the regional manager then informed him the ban applied to all Tractor Supply properties because of his support for Trump and the patriotic branding of his business. They went on his social media to see that he supported Trump. Now, his branding for the business wasn't out there pushing political. It was just saying all American hot dogs, waving an American flag, all of that. Tractor Supply has not issued. Yep. Tractor Supply has not issued a public statement confirming, denying, or explaining the decision. But if you remember, Tractor Supply got into this DEI bullshit a little while back. Pressure was put on them and they reversed, right? So it is time to teach Tractor Supply a lesson, okay? And I know it sucks because it's a great place to go and get dog food, chicken feed if you've got chickens, ivermectin, right? General supplies. It's a neat store. They don't have guns. I was always kind of suspicious about that.
Yeah, I know they don't.
They have a really small amount of ammo, I think, at some of their stores.
The ones local to me don't have.
Yeah, one down here in Florida had ammo, but it's tiny. It's at the front, and it was like a locker, a little locker. But I suspect the people running this store are a bunch of leftists, and the people that they've hired and put into these positions are leftists, while pretending to be all-American, conservative, heartland. Because it's freaking Tractor Supply,
well,
right?
I mean, the thing is too, and Tractor Supply needs to do something because this is a regional manager, which means he's responsible for an area. He's not responsible for Tractor Supply as a whole, and he could be going off road doing his own thing because Hartman hurt his feelings.
Here's where I'm going to disagree a little bit. Their history with the DEI bullshit comes from the very top. Okay. And now this is a major story. This is everywhere. And they haven't responded, right? If it was a regional manager and he was going rogue, what would they do? First thing, unless they're completely incompetent, and Tractor Supply Management is not completely incompetent, right? They would get out in front of this thing right off the bat and say, hey, we've reprimanded this guy. They don't have to fire. We've reprimanded this guy. We've invited the other guy back. The story ends right there. You just point to a rogue employee who's now getting punished for being political, right? But they haven't done that. And because they haven't done it, they need the Bud Light treatment, Stu. There's no excuse.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I hate that because that's where we go and get dog food and chicken food and everything else, and they're right local to me. Now I need to drive further to get the same thing elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I feel this. I feel the same way. That's where I get dog food there. I get, other things there. You can get. They have all sorts of different insecticides that I use there. All sorts of stuff I get.
Well, I mean, it's a great. I mean, it's what it is. They've got a lot of that outdoor type stuff that people need.
But most places have local feed stores that aren't a huge chain, and there's other chains too. Dude, you've got Rural King, so what are you bitching about?
Oh yeah, I'm going to. That's where we'll go to. Just the Tractor Supply is closer. That's all.
Yeah. So there's other chains that you can. They need to be taught a lesson. When will these companies freaking learn, right? And when we were talking about the immigration deal, but we haven't gotten to it yet. I should probably save that. But these big corporations that hire illegals should pay a price for that too. They should pay a price for that.
So what we were talking the other day, Matt, it's so hard because in the end, everything is owned and operated by the same by a handful of companies, and they're all doing it. So you can't just say, okay, I'm not going to buy Toll House chocolate chip cookies. I'm gonna boycott Toll House because
you pick 2 or 3 and you make a lesson of them. You pick 2 or 3 and you run them to the brink of being out of business, just like they did with Bud Light. You have to. You can't do it all to all of them. I mean, Walmart's even gone woke, for crying out loud. I mean, they have. And you're right. The government. We talked about this last week. The government. They don't want small business, which is I'm saying past governments, the Obama, the Biden administrations, liberal, Marxist, socialist administrations do not want small business because small business has diversity of thought. And what is the antithesis of the Democrat Party? Diversity of thought. Okay, well, they want to get you focused on skin color.
If they want to say, okay, we're going to implement, just to go out there, we're going to implement digital currency. Mm-hmm. There's no more paper money. Well, how much more difficult would that be if there were still, hundreds of thousands of mom and pop shops on every street corner? But now there's not.
Well, that's
now
a great. That's
now
a great
Walmart.
Example.
Now there's CVS. Yeah. There's not the Hall drugstore that's been in the
mm-hmm.
community for 120 years. That's those are going away.
And this is how they do it. They want 5 big corporations in each industry that do deals with the federal government, and then their backs get scratched by the federal government, so they make money on top of this, right? Selling you out, right? So what they do is they pass radical environmental legislation, which drives the small farmer out of business because he can't afford to keep up with the regulations and make a small profit out of the small piece of dirt that he has. So he sells to a big food corporation like Tyson Foods, right? Mm-hmm. So Tyson Foods buys up all these small farms, gets bigger, bigger, and bigger, and ties themselves with the administration, the left-wing administration that's in power, and then they'll do the bidding of that administration. Hey, we're getting you all of this money. We've created a situation where you've bought all of these farms and you're massive. You're this huge, massive entity now. Now, what are you going to do for us? We want to push this agenda. Push it. Okay. Wham. So I'll tell you, in Minnesota, some of the companies that were importing third world labor as opposed to American labor, and then almost exactly what we're talking about here. Hormel Foods, right? Jennie-O, right? A bunch of these companies you ought to look into if you're in Minnesota, and that's all I'm going to say. You ought to look into what happened with those companies about 20 years ago, and you're going to see what happened. And now you're going to see why so much of Minnesota that was once beautiful is absolutely destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. And you're going to see it. And they're not the only ones. Tyson Foods got busted firing a bunch of, we talked about this story. Remember about 2 years ago? We talked about this story where Tyson Foods was laying off a bunch of Americans so they could hire illegals. And it was a deal they had done with the Biden administration. That is so anti-American, and Tyson Foods did not pay the penalty they should have paid for that. As far as I'm concerned, they should have been run out of business.
Well, Matt, the thing is, you just don't understand. You don't understand what these 300,000 Haitians have done for Ohio.
Well, the 500 that's turned into 300. Okay.
Because according to Governor Mike DeWine, a Republican, probably in name only,
yes,
condemned ICE's reported plans, insisting such operations would be a blow to Springfield and a blow to the state of Ohio. These are people who have helped Springfield really come back.
Yes.
Who are living there and employed there, they came there to work.
They didn't come there to work.
Not being filled by other people.
That is so much bullshit. And this is just what we were talking about. They get rid of the American worker to pay these guys $15 an hour less. That's what they do. And then they say, oh, they work when they're all on welfare. The vast, vast, vast majority, over 80% on welfare. Okay. Yeah. So that's really helped Springfield come back by bringing in a bunch of people, basically allowing some corporation to make a shitload of money because they got rid of their American employees. And then they get to pay these guys next to nothing when the federal government and the state government come in and use your taxpayer dollars to subsidize their employees. So tell me how that brings Springfield back. This guy DeWine should be run out of office in shame, an absolute shame. He is a complete bought and paid for proper garden tool, if you know what I'm saying. Okay.
Well, one good thing the Supreme Court did get right is they reversed a lower court ruling. And again, this is the thing that kills me.
They were supposed to be gone in February.
It's the federal government that is in charge of immigration.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes, a lower court blocked President Trump's administration from terminating TPS, which is the temporary protected status for migrants from Haiti and Syria. And we talked about it. These people have been here for 16 years. And we have judges in our own judicial system saying no. And it is absolutely boggling because, again, right here, Haiti was originally granted temporary protected status when the nation was devastated by an earthquake in 2010. The designation allowed Haitian TPS beneficiaries.
Remind me, who was president in 2010? What administration granted this temporary protective status?
Yeah, and which prior administration raised how much money to rebuild Haiti?
Yeah, exactly. So
what foundation starts with a Clinton? What foundation raised how many hundreds of millions of dollars to rebuild Haiti?
And and you have the Obama administration bringing them in and giving them temporary protective status. And I hate this, and I'm going to say it to everybody. Everybody says Obama deported more people than any. The Obama administration changed the definition of deportation, right?
Yeah.
Deportation under the Obama administration was turning somebody around at the border once you caught them. That was considered a deportation. So he deported, That is, when I hear Republicans say that, I'm like, you are an idiot. You're an absolute idiot.
You know what, Matt? I'll play their game. Okay, so why are Democrats upset at Trump?
Yeah, well, that's how they're trying to use it. That's how they're trying to use it when they say that. But I don't like it because he was flooding this country with illegals too. I mean, he was flooding it with illegals. So, I mean, it's insane. It's insane that he gets off as, a deportation guy. No, he wasn't at all. He was an amnesty guy, and he's the one who brought all of these Haitians over here in the first place. So, here's the long game. Here's the long game. They're going to put them on government assistance with your money. They're going to help their buddies in the big corporations out by giving them cheap ass labor that they don't have to pay a damn thing, because they're going to use your taxpayer dollars to pay these people to keep them happy. And then they want them to be here long enough to where they vote. And when they vote,
now,
they're going to
they've
replace
had children here,
keep Democrats in power. Yes, and have children.
And now they've been here for 16 years. A kid that was born here is almost of age to vote. So you tell me who that kid's going to vote for if they reach 18.
That's
the party that's saying temporary is temporary, you need to go home? Or
Stu, sometimes you come up with some really good points, dude.
I'm just saying. Who's that 18-year-old going to vote for?
You're smart.
Saying temporary means temporary, it's time to go home, or the party that's saying, no, stay here, we'll increase your benefits. You know who that might be.
You didn't catch
right
that.
Here.
I gave you a compliment. I gave you a compliment. I gave you a compliment, and you didn't take it.
Thank you.
I said you're smarter than you look.
Oh well, that doesn't take much. That's a very low bar. It's a very, very low bar. That's a tripping hazard. Is what that is. But Haitians who have lived in the United States under TPS have had as many as 16 years to find a permanent legal path to remain in the U.S. or find another place to go.
Well, there's a great stop. No, go back to where you were, because I wanted to tell you there was a great the author of this article said something great, and I love it. Stop, go back up.
Oh, here?
The United States is not the world's soup kitchen. It is a nation with a responsibility to its own people, period. That is a great Elizabeth Lawrence down here. Excellent writing, because that should be a t-shirt. The United States is not the world's soup kitchen. It is a nation with a responsibility to its own people, period. End of story.
Yep. First and foremost. Again, I can't even say that now, because there are other countries that are self-destructing with this suicidal empathy that they profess with bringing in people from all over the third world to replace their own citizens and culture. But the other story is this one. This is one I want. Mamdani promising to bring down food costs. His state-owned grocery store program, it isn't reducing the cost of food. Instead, it's shifting the cost to taxpayers. Here's what he's doing. Mamdani held a press conference at a Brooklyn food pantry to unveil pricing details. He said a core basket of everyday groceries, including eggs, milk, chicken, fresh produce, meat, seafood, bread, cheese, and roughly 20 other staple items would be priced 30% below typical retail rates. Once a month, our 5 city-run grocery stores will set prices for this core set of goods at 30% below typical retail prices. All right, Matt, what is the normal margin on a grocery store?
On a grocery store, you're working in single-digit margins. So
single-digit margins.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
by him reducing prices to 30% below retail prices,
You have
he's
double-digit
not buying
loss.
them.
Yes, that would be a double-digit loss.
All right, now one step further. Grocery stores operate, or let me see, non-socialized grocery stores operate in single-digit margins.
Well, see here. Hold on. Let me make a correction.
Okay.
A well-run convenience store. Okay, you try to work off of what's called a 30% margin. That's everything. Okay, 30% margin. Now, a grocery store works off of higher volume but less margin. Okay, so a grocery store is not going to be working anywhere near a 30% margin. They're going to be working single-digit to low double-digit margins on many of the items that they sell inside of a grocery store. So there's not the 30% in here to work with and to be able to make money. So
right here, grocery store net profit margins typically range between 1% and 3%.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's after labor, that's after all that. That's their margin, their profit.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, I lost my screen here. Where am I? What am I looking for? That's not it. Damn it. Can you hear me, Matt?
I can hear you. Is this surprising though when they elect an individual that's never done a damn thing in his life except protest and be in a couple of his mom's Disney movies? He's never done a thing. And he only was naturalized, I believe, 2 years ago. Right?
Really?
Yeah. And do you know what he reminds me of with that fake smile that he has? Watch his smile that he has. I loved with the basketball stuff with the Knicks. Do you think this guy was really a Knicks fan when he was younger? Hell no, this guy wasn't a Knicks fan or anything else. He reminds me of what are those ventriloquist puppets that people?
Yeah, the ventriloquist dummies.
Yes, that fake smile that he had. Yeah, he's got the same smile no matter what he does, right? He is, you talk about, just like all of these people that the Democrats put up, they are basically casting call politicians. That's what they are. They're put up there to present an image, but they're really puppets that are doing the people who are destroying everything. They're doing their bidding for them, right?
All right,
and they usually pick very dumb, low, unimpressive people. Let me give you an example.
Well, hold on a second. Hold on a second, Matt.
Well, let me finish that point. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Joe Biden, Mamdani. Go ahead, Stu.
No, what I was saying, I was finishing my point here on the groceries before I lost my screen.
Okay.
We just established grocery stores operate on a 1% to 3% margin rate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think is going to happen to the other grocery stores in the area being run by?
They're going to be run out of business.
Right. They're having 20 to 25 staple items. And again, this is eggs, milk, chicken, produce, meat, seafood, bread, cheese. This is everything you go in to buy groceries.
Well, hold on. I want to make a comment to that, Stu. Now, this is an inner city grocery store. Okay. Let me tell you what they're not selling in an inner city grocery store. Milk, chicken, eggs, fresh meat, fresh produce, seafood, bread, cheese. Do you know what they're buying? Pre-prepared foods like ramen, sugared drinks like Crush. The sweeter, the better, right?
Yeah.
The junkiest diabetes creating junk food that you could possibly think of. That's what they're selling at these inner city grocery stores. That's what they're selling. So, but your Stu's point is 100% correct. It's 100% correct. they are going to run out every other ma and pa store. And that's really what the people that are behind this are after, because they want the government to control all of this. They want the government.
Then they'll blame the other grocery stores. Look, they're abandoning the neighborhoods. We have to keep our store here now.
They were gouging. They were price gouging, right? Yeah.
They can't stay in business without price gouging.
Yeah, I would say margins are a little bit higher than 1 to 3%, but they're single digit margins. They're shit margins. So you have to do volume. But this is exactly, they want to create that. They want to create that to where the government has to control everything. But in order for the government to keep doing that, they need more and more and more money. So if you're a business and you're in New York or any one of these left-wing cities, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, Boston, any one of these, Chicago, right? You should seriously consider getting out and going to a more business-friendly place that has, because if you starve them with money, they collapse. And when they collapse, they want the rest of the country to come in and bail them out. But if you don't bail them out and you let them wallow in their own shit, you come in and you point and you say, this is the guy who did it. This Mamdani did it, even though he's not the one who did it. He was the one pushing the program because his masters are pulling the strings, right? But the gig is up at that stage. You don't bail them out. That you don't bail them out. California, when it goes down, you don't bail them out. And if you do, you make sure that big changes happen. But
that's the rub right there. It is, and I agree with you. The thought of not bailing them out is delicious, but we know that's 99% not reality. But
it has to be, Stu. It has to be. You have to let them waller in their own shit. You have to.
Oh, I agree. I think you do, but I don't think that'll happen. But the aspect of there have to be laws put in place or have to be guardrails erected to prevent it from happening again should absolutely be the number 1, 2, and 3 condition of any bailout.
Are you following what's going on with this Ayanna Pressley and her husband in Massachusetts?
Mm-mm.
Okay. You know who Ayanna Pressley is? The squad member who's bald. She shaved her head bald.
They're all stupid. I don't know.
She's Ocasio-Cortez light. Okay. She is, her husband's an ex-con, right? And it turns out that he's getting all of these up to $1 billion bids, right? He's winning all of these contracts with the state.
Oh, and yeah, I think I remember.
Oh, and then friends and associates of his are being put into positions of power within the state, if I understand it correctly, right? And it's funny how the mainstream media is trying to avoid the whole story, right? But it's 100% corruption. And this is what California is. This is what Chicago is. This is what New York is. This is what Boston is. All of these left-wing shitholes. This is what Philadelphia is. They are all like this. So it needs to be pointed out every single time, because this is what is destroying our country. It's destroying our country. And the big cities are where this is where the elections are stolen, right? Right? When they are, this is where or I should say, I take it allegedly, right? This is where some inconsistencies are happening on a consistent basis, right? So these are the places where all of this goes on, and they're all these left-wing hellholes. That's what they are. That's what they are. And if you don't let them fail, and you bail them out, there's never going to be anything that is learned from this. You've got to educate the people, and you've got to educate, and the people that run them into the ground should pay a price with an investigation and get their due process. But if they were intentionally responsible for running these places into the ground, they need to pay. You know, what happens to people in business who are irresponsible with people's money, and then the same, they're irresponsible with our money, right?
Yep.
And until we
Exactly.
get that through our heads, you're not going to fix this. But the businesses need to move out of these places, and then they won't have anywhere to get that money. That's why if you move from New York to Florida, I heard Rush Limbaugh talking about this for years. The state of New York was after him until the day he died, right?
Yep.
Trying to get tax money from
He
him.
basically had to justify and prove with multiple pieces of evidence where he was every day of the year in New York. They tried to tax him.
Yeah.
Everything they could.
So these corporations need to get the hell out of these damn states. You need to get out of the states, the cities especially, because the city won't have, but in New York, the whole state. You need to get, and that's I know a lot easier said than done. But if you're able, you get out, because these places are going to crash. They're going to crash, you know, and it's unfortunate because so many beautiful parts of our country are like this. Minnesota was a beautiful state.
Freedom said there's an online petition for Mamdani to stay away from the Ground Zero ceremony in September, but he still's planning to attend.
Oh, he's going to attend no matter what. I mean, I'll sign that petition.
I didn't realize this. 43 states have a smaller population than Los Angeles County.
Yeah.
And Freedom saying, give Southern California the Democrats, let them create their own country.
Yeah, well, yeah, but you can't give them. That's our beautiful state that used to be a red state. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
I think
if we give it to them, they're going to crash it. It's going to burn to the ground in 6 years. Then we go get it back.
Yeah, I kind of like that, right?
And we get it back cheaper too.
Yeah. You know, when you think of that, because Chicago was always the second largest city in America until Los Angeles surpassed it. Now, size-wise, the physical size of the city is much more impressive when you look at Chicago and you look at Los Angeles, right? But the population, yes, Chicago is the third largest city after Los Angeles, and it's highly done on the illegal immigration. So, I mean,
JG saying Wall Street's moving to Miami.
No, explain that a little more, because
probably just a lot of the banking and all that. Because I mean, Wall Street isn't what it used to be. Everything's done on computers and online and everything else.
For sure.
You don't have all the traders going in and throwing pieces of paper around in the air like confetti. Trading stocks anymore. It's all done with algorithms and
it's done via computers, and the traders. The traders that have a leg up on everybody have faster computers. That sounds funny, but they can make their trades. They can get in and out faster. But yeah, they need to move. I mean, Wall Street has been the end. New York, you either save New York or you get out. And I don't think you can save it at this stage. You can't stay. There's too many people stuffed in there, and our universities have created such a disaster with young people that we're turning out people that are intentionally uneducated. And they think they know everything because they just went to this school and paid all of this money and have the debt to prove it, right? But not a job that pays them enough to be sustainable. Yet they're still living by what they've been taught in those indoctrination campuses. And that's not just happening in college anymore. It starts when these radical blue hairs get your kids from an early age in the public school system.
Yep.
No.
Well, you got anything to say to the kind folks in the audience before?
Well, do we have any more comments that we needed to cover?
What JG had some he was kind of just commenting along with the stories, talking about the digital currency we were talking about. He's thinking that's potentially as soon as 2031.
Yeah, I think JG's right on this. I think he's right.
I think they're definitely going to push for it. It's more control over it. I mean, they can control, track, they can do everything with it, and they can shut you down. You can be shut down and barred from doing anything.
We get another left wing
Very scary.
administration, we're in trouble. We're in big, big, big trouble.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
No. Well, Troy was talking about buying California back for pennies on the dollar once the Democrats burn it to the ground.
He had your idea. Oh boy. Well,
all right.
Well, I think we got through everything by hook or by crook. Stu always sidetracks us. I don't know what the hell's going on. This should have been done way earlier.
I know.
Stu,
I'm
let
sorry.
that be a lesson to you. Okay.
I'm trying to learn my lesson, but I keep saying I need a sign made. Some of us simply learn the hard way, because that's what I do.
Yeah. I mean, we're trying to keep the thing on track, and there you go. There you go.
Right off in the left field, chasing butterflies.
That's right. So, hey, we want to thank you guys for being here. We want to thank you guys first and foremost for being patriots. Remember to live in freedom every day, and we will see you next Tuesday. Thank you for stopping by.